Okay.
Okay.
So, hello everyone. Welcome back to the Generation Gap podcast, World Cup edition. I'm Taimur Mir, that's Daniel Ahmed. And this episode is brought to you by Mohammad Rizwan Scramp. Mohammad Rizwan Scramp. Sometimes it's Scramp, sometimes I act in, which is actually something he said in the press conference,
Actually,
which was actually.
another sponsor would
क्या
be
था?
the upcoming anime regarding Rizwan.
Regarding our Rizwan,
Yeah.
where he achieves his final form
Yeah.
through suffering and pain and leg punching.
Yeah.
That was like amazing. The leg punches was something else. Like वो चलते चलते है ना, like he's just punching his like work, god damn it, work.
Very shonen moment. Like it cannot
Very
get more
shonen moment.
shonen protagonist than this. Yeah.
Exactly. So वो बात है कि that was hilarious as well. Like at some point, I think even the commentators caught on. कि यार ये scene कुछ off सा लग रहा है. Like especially like that six जिसपे वो गिर गया था,
Sniper
which was
वाला
quite
comment था.
amazing. Like he हाँ मतलब वो गया and then suddenly he like plays that six and he falls over simultaneously. And like they
Yeah.
all start laughing at the situation. हुआ क्या? Like it just becomes high comedy at that point.
Yeah.
Like it was quite an amazing innings and quite entertaining as well. So basically, we decided to cover this particular match. I think Netherlands ka, as afraid as we were of Netherlands ke moje, I think we didn't take that match that seriously. हमें था कि चलो Pakistan जीत जाएगा. Although the Pakistani batsmen certainly did take it extremely seriously. जितने
Yeah.
मर के उन्होंने run बनाए, we had like 3 mini collapses in that particular game. And we managed to win it by 80 runs, but I think no one was really happy with that result. We were just not looking very confident,
This was
and I think we weren't really that confident going into the Sri Lanka game because of that.
that is what I was telling you. I don't know if you remember when I sent that voice note because it feels like it's 1998 and Pakistan had a match with Australia and they were batting first और उनसे बैटिंग नहीं हुई तो उन्होंने लो स्कोर किया तो बॉलिंग ने किसी तरीके से जो है ना मर मर के जो है ना मैच जितवा दिया except that this was not Australia, this was fucking Netherlands and this is not 1998. So yeah.
Exactly. वो match genuinely फंसा हुआ था until Haris came in and took some wickets, but they were like not looking confident at all. And there were times where Pakistan looked in a lot of trouble. And then several times throughout that match, they looked in trouble. The batting and bowling जब चल रही थी आपकी, they managed to. आखिर में the margin looks reasonable, like with 80 runs and all that. But trust me, that was not an easy game for Pakistan. So going from that into the Sri Lanka game, and yes, Sri Lanka ने भी काफी बुरी मार खाई थी South Africa के हाथों. But they came back. They put up a fight against the South Africans. Kusal Mendes ने बड़ी अच्छी innings खेली थी वहाँ पे भी. And it's in this game, and especially like after the last game, जो Asia Cup में हुआ था, where Pakistan needed to beat Sri Lanka, they came really close and just lost out to the last ball and got knocked out of the final because of that. So we, and I think there was also a record like जो उनका नया भी captain है, he's won like 6 games in a row against Pakistan or something. Like उसकी अपनी कुछ 6-0 की streak चल रही थी. Yeah. So Pakistan has under his captaincy lost like 6 games in a row to Sri Lanka. So वो भी एक we had also that thing again going against us as well. So yeah, I mean these things were not looking well going into the match. I had a lot of trepidations कि यार क्या होने वाला है, किस तरह से खेलेंगे. One thing I thought कि चले, Pakistan will have like a traditionally good start against Sri Lanka. कि शुरू में हम कोई उनकी विकेट निकाल लेंगे, 2-3 विकेट निकाल लेंगे. We did get 1 wicket. I honestly thought कि अच्छा ठीक है अब उसके बाद कुछ निकलेंगी, but I mean Shaheen की bowling just looked like crap. Like, but I think I said something to the. I mean I said something to the effect of कि यार मतलब he's looking like Hassan Ali is looking a lot more dangerous than Shaheen. I don't know whether I should be happy or sad about this. क्योंकि वही बात है कि Shaheen was. This is like one of the worst performances I've seen from Shaheen, without a doubt. Like in terms of his pace was off. Normally तो होता है ना उसकी either pace off होती है या उसकी line length off होती है या कुछ होता है. He just seemed off all over the place. And I mean I know if you see the game, the Pakistani bowlers, were bowling deliveries in between that looked a bit dangerous and that could have taken wickets. But again, the pressure was जो हम आपस में बात भी करते, pressure exert नहीं हो पा रहा था. They were bowling 4 good deliveries and they were bowling 2 bad deliveries in every over, and Sri Lanka was basically hitting them on every single bad delivery. Especially Kusal Mendes was doing a really good job. Like वो threw
Yeah,
out
I
किसी
should.
loose ball को, सारी अच्छी बॉल को भी उसने hit किया.
No, I think before we like delve into how bad our bowling was, I really want to give props to Kusal Mendes. That's some quality batting for someone who has had a very low average. He seems like a quality player in general. Like I don't know kahan se he got this inspiration to get extremely. He reminds me a lot of Surya Kumar Yadav in the way that he bats.
Hmm.
Just पीछे एकदम
अच्छा.
से फेंक दिया, 5 छक्के मार दिए एकदम से. Like it was, I think it was what match was against South Africa, that innings that he played. Like
Hmm.
props to Sri Lanka for actually trying to go for it. They failed, but they were trying to go for it. They were trying to chase 400, which would have sucked because record तो हमने break करना.
I mean, we'll come to that part as well, and
Yeah.
the mind blowing aspect of the fact that Pakistan currently holds the World Cup record for the highest chase in like what, like the 48 years or 50 years of the World Cup, which blows my mind because
Yeah.
how Pakistan should not be the team at the top. Like ठीक है, मतलब अगर आप all out record देखें तो it's always like it's like really surprising teams. Like top 5 आपने record देखा है ना of highest chases in the World Cup. It's like Ireland, Bangladesh, Pakistan. बता कहते यार तुम यहाँ कैसे आ गए?
Yeah.
मतलब you're expecting India, you're expecting Australia, you're expecting South Africa, these kind of teams आप expect कर रहे होते हैं कि वो यहाँ पे बैठी हुई होंगी highest chases में वर्ल्ड कप के. None of them are here. अजीब, मतलब एक वो क्या उसे कहते हैं, खिचड़ी सी बनी हुई है जिसमें मतलब ये तमाम टीमें उसके अंदर हैं. Maybe like having a green shirt is a prerequisite. I don't know. At least from Ireland, Bangladesh और पाकिस्तान को देखे तो मुझे यही लग रहा है. But
Yeah.
it's a very odd thing, but we'll get to that later on. Just kind of going through the first innings and overall Pakistan, especially the like first 30 overs, to matlab absolute titty for Pakistan, and maybe just excellent batting from them. But maybe a combination, I'd say. Like every now and then they were bowling good enough deliveries. Catch big drop हो गया, जो इमाम ने किया था. I mean that didn't help things either. So 30 overs में तो like genuinely मेरा था कि हाँ ये 400 plus score है. Or it was definitely on track for that. Like I think they had 230 something in 30 overs, if I'm not wrong. उसके आसपास चल रहा था, right?
Yeah.
So उसके बाद for Pakistan to restrict them to 340 something, that was actually quite an achievement. Like I was not expecting that at all. मैंने कहा ये तो 400 टप गया, पक्की बात है. हो नहीं सकता
Yeah.
400 से ऊपर ये आ जाए. But उसके बाद से they bowled well, and I was surprised. Like one of the things that the stats that kind of stood out for me was, and in some ways Pakistan should be worried about this. Your best performing spinner in the match was Ifti Chacha, and also he was the one who bowled the least number of overs as well. Like overall average, in fact, सबसे अच्छी average bowling average जो थी in terms of like runs का economy की बात करना चाह रहा था मैं. Like lowest economy जो है वो इफ्तिखार की थी. I think he had an economy of like 5 point something, and everyone else was like 6.5, 7 के आसपास चल रहा था. And he bowled 4 overs or 7 right, which I'm surprised by. Why didn't they actually bowl him out if he was not conceding any runs? So थोड़ा और उसको ओवर दे देते, थोड़ा pressure build कर लेता वो. But whatever, that was also like a surprising thing कि आपके बाकी spinners में से कोई भी मतलब अच्छा है. शादाब again did not look good. Awaz, I think again वो line length रख लेता है, लेकिन he wasn't really looking that dangerous either. And the only bowler who kind of comes out with some sort of redeeming quality in all of this is sort of Hassan Ali. I think overall he was, he was a bit inconsistent. He's still not back to his best, but at least he's looking like someone who can be a threat. Shaheen was just completely off the boil. Haris also wasn't doing as well as he did in the last game as well. But again, the pitch has a lot to do with it. I think वो भी हमें थोड़ा caveats में देना पड़ेगा. It's not an easy pitch to bowl on at all. कुछ भी नहीं था, ना spinners के लिए ना था, ना fast bowlers के लिए कुछ था. Very easy pitch to bat on. So वो भी अपनी जगह पे एक बात है. And overall credit के चले, they did come back well. They did manage to stop them to 340 something. लेकिन of course 340 पे भी if you look at the record, like अगर हम पाकिस्तान के पिछले 2-3 साल में देखें तो मैं कहता हूँ हाँ chaseable है. The Pakistan has done well in the last couple of years. Our chasing has been decent, and we have like chased down big targets in the ODIs, especially when Fakhar, Imam and Babar were going well. तो उस टाइम हमने किया था, बट अब हमें पता है कि उनकी फॉर्म भी गंदी थी, ऊपर से वर्ल्ड कप का प्रेशर अपना होता है, सो इस गेम का अपने तौर पे प्रेशर भी था, श्रीलंका के खिलाफ हमारा रिकॉर्ड भी खराब है, सो ऑल दोस थिंग्स कंसीडर्ड इट डिडंट लुक वेरी गुड, बट आई मीन आई हैड सम लेवल ऑफ होप गोइंग इनटू इट कंसीडरिंग हाउ इजी द पिच वाज, एंड देन उसके बाद फिर जब मैच शुरू होता है तो सडनली पाकिस्तान loses two very early wickets. Again, अब उसमें a lot of people have been talking about Fakhar. I think in some ways, the best thing to come out of Fakhar's bad form has been for Imam ul Haq. Everyone's kind of ignored Imam's bad form because of that. क्योंकि सबका ध्यान जो अभी फिलहाल फटा हुआ, because Imam has not been really doing well either in the last like maybe 8-10 matches as well, right? His recent form has been bad as well, considering how good he is, how consistent he's been in the ODI, at least in terms of run scoring.
That has been the surprising part, his form, because I never really expected, I mean, thodi bachkana baat, but I never really expected a player like Imam to have a drop in form. And that sounds childish now that I say it. But given the level of technique that he has, which is extremely orthodox, and the approach that he has, which is essentially just rotation of the strike until eternity, I never expect a player like this to lose touch, because कौन सा touch पहले touch नहीं डाल रहा है.
हाँ मतलब वो आउट भी एक ही फैशन में हो रहा है कि शॉर्ट बॉल्स को करवा रहे हैं, एंड ही इज जस्ट trying to any miscues a pull or catch जो चला जाता है, and it's happened before as well. And the interesting thing is that that's usually a strong shot of his. Like he's actually probably one of the best players of a pull shot in Pakistan. Usually our players are traditionally not very good at the pull shot, but he actually plays it really well, and that's kind of been his device.
Just so that before we go on with this, I kind of lost track of the conversation, so we might need to go back to the first innings, because I do want to play some devil's advocate. I thought that we bowled sort of well, at least in the power play. And I discussed this with you, where I was like, okay, this is still vicious bowling. We've kind of lost our steam, but bowling thodi si viciousness hai.
I think that we can go back to that. I think I did bring that up. We can go back to that as well. कि, you were saying कि हाँ वो bowl कर रहे हैं. Yes, there are some good deliveries in between, which look like they might take a wicket. But मसला ये था कि there wasn't like consistent pressure being exerted. I think ये मसला था. कि उसमें constantly.
I felt that Sri Lanka was kind of playing us well, and उसमें like वो issue आता है कि like they were waiting for that bad ball and then just smashing away that bad ball, and that was kind of adding in pressure. But in terms of, if you look at the quantity of good balls that were bowled, I think they were a lot. They were bowling good balls. अच्छी length पे करा था. Hassan Ali खास तौर पे I would say was bowling at the right length, picture perfect length पे करा था. Shaheen भी I would say bowled some good balls बीच में, although his pace has been off. But वही बात है ना कि again there is a problem, but it's still a pretty good attack. So
I mean the attack is still good. Like वही बात है, Shaheen even like without his peak is capable of picking up 2 or 3 wickets.
Yeah.
The issue is we know he can do a lot better than this. I think वही मसला है. He is a victim of his own success in some regards. क्योंकि हमें पता है कि he can bowl faster. हमें पता है कि he can bowl it a lot more accurately. And again वो चीज़ अभी हो नहीं रही. He can't seem to. I think he's probably slowed down a bit because he wants to control his swing, but he can't really control his swing right now. Like बहुत दफा like his curving sort of in swinger just keeps going down the leg.
Yeah.
Which would be fine अगर आप बाबर आजम को बॉल करा रहे हैं, because he's going to tickle it down to the keeper every single time. But अगर आप किसी और को करा रहे हैं तो फिर आपको चौके पड़ने हैं.
And hence we naturally transition back into the second innings.
We transition back to second, and hence we transition. देखें कैसे मैंने किया transition. लेकिन अगर उसमें मैं कह रहा था कि वो जो बाबर का मसला हो रहा है, again मैं कहता है the romance between Babar and tickle down leg has been rekindled. इतनी दफा ये I think these test matches में बहुत हो रहा था श्रीलंका के खिलाफ. This was happening a lot, right? In the test matches that was playing, जिसमें वो बार-बार उसको लेग पे कराई जा रही थी. एक तो चलो उसमें ये भी होता बाबर लेफ्ट आर्म स्पिनर से आउट हो रहा था. But अगर उससे आउट नहीं होता था, then it was always like this weird tickle down the leg thing that he had, which kind of reminds me like way back in the day जब एक टाइम पे सईद अनवर इस बॉल पे आउट होना शुरू कर, नॉट टिकल डाउन लेग, उसका मसला था कि ही वुड स्टार्ट गेटिंग आउट ऑन द लेग फ्लिक, एंड द लेग फ्लिक वाज लाइक वन ऑफ हिज स्ट्रॉन्गेस्ट शॉट्स, लाइक उसकी टांग पे आप कराएं यूजुअली तो वो यूं फ्लिक करता छक्का। तो व्हाट द इंडियन स्टार्टेड डूइंग, आई थिंक उस टाइम प्रसाद ने करना शुरू किया था, वेंकटेश प्रसाद, he started bowling him slower deliveries on the leg stump. So either
Hmm.
he would miscue and get caught, or he would get bowled behind his stance. तो वो जो है ना, उसकी वजह से दैट वाज लाइक अ वियर्ड थिंग, बिकॉज दैट वाज अ डिलीवरी जो कि यूजुअली जो उस लेंथ पे आपको कराता है ना, तो वो उसको उठा उठा के मारता था, एंड देन सडनली दैट बिकेम अ शॉट वेयर ही केप्ट गेटिंग आउट टू द पॉइंट वेयर सईद अनवर जस्ट स्टॉप प्लेइंग दैट ऑल टुगेदर। उसने बस स्ट्रेट खेलना शुरू कर दिया उस बॉल को, ही जस्ट स्टॉप प्लेइंग द लेग फ्लिक, व्हिच आई ऑलवेज हेटेड, because that was one of my favorite shots to see जो सईद अनवर खेलता था, and but yeah, because it stopped working for him, he kept getting out, so maybe Babar has to kind of figure something out as well, क्योंकि अगर वो उस चीज पे आउट हो रहा है तो maybe he just needs to stop playing that shot for a little while
I
and
do
maybe start
wanna
either playing or stop playing it.
yeah. I do wanna channel my Harsha Bogle right now, and I wanna tell or talk about how beautiful cricket is. Okay, जिस तरह का tickle down the leg, while we were talking about this yesterday, that is a gully cricket problem, right?
हाँ
That is how gully players typically get out because they're absolute amateurs और उनको ball दिखती नहीं है और ना उसको length को judge कर पाते हैं ना line को, तो वो जो ball आती है उसको
हाँ
खेल लेते हैं, ठीक है? The beautifulnस of cricket
बिल्कुल
is that the best batsman in the world is also not safe from this gully cricket problem.
हाँ एग्जैक्टली। ओके, सबसे ज्यादा मैं बताया था कि गुस्सा भी इस पे आता था, लाइक
Yeah.
जब मेरा जो एटलीस्ट मैं जब क्या करता था जब बैक इन द डे, जब मैं यू नो मोहल्ले में जाके स्कूल में खेल रहा होता था, सबसे ज्यादा गुस्सा मुझे डिसमिसल पे आता, लाइक फुल टॉस पे कैच आउट होने में भी उतना गुस्सा आपको नहीं आता जितना ये टिकल डाउन लेग पे आपको गुस्सा आता है, क्योंकि आप कहते हैं यार भैंचो में छोड़ देता है इसको तो ये मतलब वाइड हो जाती,
Yeah.
या मैं इसको सही तरह प्रॉपर बल्ला मारता तो ये चौका हो जाता, हाउ द हेल डिड आई गेट आउट ऑफ दिस बॉल, ये होना नहीं चाहिए था, लाइक दिस दिस गाय डज नॉट डिजर्व अ विकेट ऑन दिस बॉल, इतनी गंदी आपने मुझे बॉल कराई है, आप डिजर्व ही नहीं करते ये विकेट, लेकिन आपको ये विकेट मिल गई है, उस चीज का आपको बहुत शदीद गुस्सा होता है। मतलब ठीक है, बाकी चीजों में भी आप अनॉय होते हैं, ठीक है, यू नो टेक्निक में ये मसला हो गया वो हो गया, सबसे ज्यादा गुस्सा जेन्युइनली मुझे तो उस पे याद है, आई डोंट नो हाउ ही फील्स अबाउट इट बाबर का, लेकिन मुझे तो शदीद गुस्सा आया था कि यार घटिया बॉल पे बंदा आउट हुआ, व्हाट द हेल जस्ट हैपेंड। और ये भी सरप्राइजिंग बात है, एंड आई हैव नोटिस्ड दिस अ लॉट, क्योंकि क्या नाम है मैच में ना बाबर ने पहली बॉल पे आके चौका मारा था, एक रियली वंडरफुल शॉट एज वेल, बड़े मजे की उसने ड्राइव लेग साइड पे शॉट खेली थी, रियली अमेजिंग बैलेंस, बड़े मजे का उसने उसको खेला, एंड वहां से मुझे लगा कि अच्छा बाबर आउट हो जाएगा, लाइक लिटरली दिस हैपेंस सो ऑफन विद बाबर, लाइक एवरी टाइम ही स्टार्ट्स ऑफ with like a really confident shot or a series of confident drives and all, he always gets out early, हमेशा, like he gets overconfident, he plays one shot too many and he gets out,
Right.
पक्की बात,
चलो भाई,
बाबर
मेरी
को मुझे
टिकटॉक
पता है
वीडियो हो गई,
क्यों।
मैं चलता हूँ।
एस्थेटिक इतने हो गए कि एस्थेटिक एडिट्स बन जाएंगे अब, ठीक है मैं
Yeah.
जा रहा हूँ, तो उसके मतलब वो इसका थोड़ा है इशू, लाइक आई हैव नोटिस्ड अ पैटर्न देयर कि एवरी टाइम ही कम्स आउट एंड ही लुक्स टू कॉन्फिडेंट, और बहुत लाइक उसकी लग रहा है कि बिल्कुल स्मूथ शॉट्स निकल रही हैं, मजे से बल्ले पे आ रही है, मुझे पता होता है कि बाबर ने जल्दी आउट हो जाना, बिकॉज ही विल ट्राई टू प्ले वन शॉट टू मैनी एंड ही विल गेट आउट। बहुत कम ऐसा हुआ है कि उसके बाद वो लंबी उस इनिंग्स खेली हो, यूजुअली शुरू में आकर थोड़ा सा अगर वो स्क्रैची गेम खेले या एटलीस्ट डिफेंसिव लग रहा हो, उधर आराम आराम से बिल्ड करे, तो ही हैज अ मच बेटर चांस ऑफ गोइंग ऑन एंड प्लेइंग अ बिगर इनिंग्स, क्योंकि आई थिंक ही इज बिट मोर circumspect, he tries to play a fewer shots and he waits a bit longer to start playing every single shot in the book, तो उस वजह से वो थोड़ा सेटल हो चुका होता है बाय दैट टाइम, क्योंकि वही शॉट में भी उसको यू नो 10 बॉल्स बाद ये बॉल से लेग डाउन लेग पे वाली ये डिलीवरी मिलती, he probably would just flick that for a four, but since he got that like maybe 10 balls 20 balls earlier, he just manages to get just a tickle on it and he gets out, so वो भी चीज है, I think that's also something that he has, which I've noticed is like a consistent pattern of his. लेकिन बहरहाल we come down to the situation जहाँ पे both of them are out at this point, मुझे पता है पिच तो आसान है, लेकिन मैंने कहा कि at that point I'm kind of dreading a collapse, क्योंकि अब you know दो आपके जो मेन बंदे हैं who are supposed to be your run makers, अब बाबर है और इमाम है, they're out at this point, you're chasing a record total, and Abdullah Shafiq has, as much as I love him, और मैंने वो screenshot करके by the way रखी हुई थी जिसमें मैंने अब्दुल्ला शफीक का 2021 में कहा था कि आई हैव वेरी हाई होप्स ऑफ दिस गाय, नहीं सीरियसली मैंने लिटरली निकाल के रखा हुआ स्क्रीनशॉट उसका कि जी मैंने अब्दुल्ला शफीक के बारे में कहा था कि ओ आई यू नो आई बीन नोटिसिंग दिस गाय ही इज यू नो ही इज अ वेरी ब्राइट फ्यूचर और उससे मैंने को बात उसके उस टाइम पे उसकी की थी बट दैट वाज मोस्टली आई वाज टॉकिंग अबाउट हिज टेस्ट के हिसाब से मैं बात कर रहा था शायद बिकॉज़ आई थिंक ही इज मोस्टली अभी तक आई थिंक लोग क्या कहते हैं ही इज ओनली प्लेड लाइक 8 or 9 लिस्ट ए मैचेस
Yeah.
in his entire career. So, वो बात है, I was just mostly talking about the first class stuff, but we could see that he had like this really amazing stroke playing ability, which he basically did not use for like the first 90% of his career, at least like his test career. अब आगे उसने fast थोड़ी तेज shot making करनी शुरू कर दी है, but he does have like really good stroke play, but he rarely uses it.
Yeah, it's actually like when we came, I remember जब इसका debut हुआ था, we were talking about, I think अब तो group बन गया था, so we were talking about how there's so many similarities between him and his approach of playing and Rahul Dravid, because I think he took like 300, 400 balls to do a century or something like that, 300 balls, and
हाँ
extremely slow player, 30 की strike rate से खेल रहा है, and we were like, okay, so we have the Sachin and Babar, and now we have our own Dravid. But I think again, I don't know why I feel like Harsha Bhogle right now. I've been talking like Harsha Bhogle, but I think the beautifulness of this game is that he's proved himself to be so much more than the Rahul Dravids. And he
हाँ
honestly yesterday he felt like he was playing like the best player in the world, and he's not by far the best player in the world, but the way that he responsibly held the innings together, his strokes, his rotation of the strike, it was reminiscent of any good player, any goated player right now. Uh, like obviously he has a long way to
that
go.
ability to hit a boundary at the right time, like very Kohli-esque in that way. Like जहाँ पे
Yeah,
पता होता है कि अच्छा boundary चाहिए तो he would just like उसने बड़े मजे की एक जो down the ground shot मारी थी, like he just stepped back and just hit the ball straight over
yeah,
the bowler's head, like that kind of a shot, like very Kohli-esque, जो आपको पता होता है कि अच्छा हाँ ठीक है अब मुझे जरूरत है बाउंड्री यहाँ पे मारने की, he just go and hit a boundary.
yeah. And it's actually just like beautiful to think. Why am I acting like I don't get it? But it is interesting. It is interesting
Brother has
how
played a
much he
beautiful.
has, yeah, how much
आप
he
जो है
has,
अर्शद बोगल बनती है और अब दूसरा क्या नाम था वो brother has asked
yeah,
a beautiful question वाले, मैं क्या वो brother has asked a beautiful question वाले भी जो थे
yeah. The Zakir
वो
Naik
वाले
and Harshita Bogle ki
जाकिर
fusion.
नाइक, हाँ जाकिर नाइक slash हर्षा बोगले.
Yeah, but it is
Brother has
interesting.
played a beautiful stroke.
I was
We were talking
getting
about
at
Abdullah Shafik,
how
right?
I was getting at how interesting it is, how much he's evolved his game and how much versatility that he's showing. And again, it's not just ODI, because you mentioned he's only played like 8 list A matches, right? Uh, but you have
Yeah.
seen him in PSL just be the sort of player that we would never expect Abdullah Shafiq to be. So
Yeah.
he is becoming a problem. ये टीम से बाहर हो जाएगा because he is posing a direct challenge to the 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 clock king. I wanted to say Tiger King, but yeah.
हम बाबर हेजेमनी को जो उसने चैलेंज किया उसने, लेकिन देखें उसने जैसे ही उसने सेंचुरी मारी उसने पहले जो है कैप्टन का शुक्रिया अदा किया अपनी ट्वीट पे.
Just to
You see
appease
that?
the gods, just don't be mad.
Just to please the please मुझे मत निकाले. So, गलती होगी सेंचुरी मार दी माय बाप. आइंदा नहीं मारेंगे, अगर आप सेंचुरी नहीं मारेंगे तो हम भी नहीं मारेंगे.
So
तो
that is.
चलिए रिजवान तो बच जाता है, वो चले दोस्ती यारी दोस्ती यारी
Rizwan
में
इतना
रिजवान तो
घटिया
बच जाता
खेलता
है.
है कि nobody makes that. See, the problem with Rizwan is कि Rizwan can come on the level of Babar in terms of stats, but उसकी technique इतनी घटिया है कि nobody will compare him to Babar ever. Like
हाँ
I
वो खूबसूरती है ना. Although उसने बस he played the best shot of the game in my opinion, वो जो उसने inside out drive मारी थी ना, और उस पे
straight
गिरा नहीं था, एक में तो गिर गया था. नहीं he actually played like this really beautiful. अब उसने नई गेम एक शुरू की थी, he actually kind of developed that shot, like that inside out like cover drive जो मारता है बाहर निकल के स्पिनर को, like a really tough shot. बाहर आता है फिर ऑफ साइड पे like cover shot मारता है inside out होके. Now that's a very tough shot, इंतहाई मुश्किल shot है, and he plays it really well. Like he played it 2 or 3 times against the Sri Lankan spinners, and क्योंकि पहले तो उसकी ऑफ स्पेशली कवर ड्राइव से बिल्कुल नहीं चलती थी, and this is like a much more complicated version of a cover drive that he plays. and he seems to do this a lot more consistently than his regular cover drives. So हमेशा just seems to poke at the ball. लेकिन यहाँ पे प्रॉपर तरीके से बाहर आता है, निकल के he just puts his entire weight into it. बहुत बड़े मजे की शॉट है, बहुत प्यारी शॉट मारता है. लेकिन he has actually, like मैं कह रहा हूँ कि कुछ उसने ऑफ साइड में गेम अपनी इंप्रूव की है. He's genuinely developed a few new shots. But yeah, उसकी गेम ओवरऑल तो फिर भी मैं कहूँगा कि it's just more of a, it's very hustling किस्म की गेम है. It's like a lot of efforts, a lot of throwing himself around and cramping and leg punching and all that kind of stuff. It's all action. It's fun to watch in its own way, but it's not. Yeah, उसमें कोई aesthetics नहीं बनने वाले. Let's be honest. यहाँ पे एक aesthetic battle भी है, जो कि अब्दुल्ला का है, या maybe साइम अयूब भी है, who has that same kind of a quality. To some extent मोहम्मद हारिस में भी है, but अभी वो ODI टीम में नहीं आ रहे. They're nowhere near that team yet. लेकिन इसमें ये ability है. He has that.
Rizwan does have an aesthetic in the sense that he is your shonen. वही बात है ना कि we can always make those TikToks about his motivational जो नहीं होते हैं कि like
मोटिवेशन गिर रहा है, उठ रहा है. हाँ, मतलब उसके गिरने उठने और उसमें उसके आपके बना सकते हैं मोटिवेशनल वीडियोस, अच्छी बन सकती है. एस्थेटिक्स वाली नहीं बन सकती. उसके लिए आपको बाबर की ड्राइव्स और अब्दुल्ला की जो है शॉट्स. अब्दुल्ला का बल्कि एक्चुअली आई हैव टू से ऑल टाइम वन ऑफ द ऑल टाइम ग्रेटेस्ट सेलिब्रेशंस, सेंचुरी सेलिब्रेशंस. दैट वीडियो वाज फकिंग फैंटास्टिक. तुमने देखी थी कि नहीं, जो उसकी सेलिब्रेशन की थी? Did you see? Like he has like an amazing celebration, probably the best celebration for a Pakistani. The bowlers की हमारी usually बड़ी high end celebrations होगी हैं पाकिस्तानियों की. अब मैं कहूँगा कि yes, we हमारे, लेकिन batsman की we have like a very standard kind of celebration. कि ठीक है जी, either आपने ऊपर कर दिया. रिजवान has his this, जिसको मैंने कहा था कि final में he should do like a reinterpretation of that one. But रिजवान की अपनी एक है, he says like a distinctive, like उसके अलावा लेकिन मतलब you don't really get like good batsman celebrations from Pakistan. Usually bowlers का होगा, शाहीन यू कर खड़ा हो जाएगा, या हारिस का अपना जो स्टाइल है, या नसीम का है, but they all have like उनकी celebration मजे की हैं देखने के लिए. But usually Pakistani bowlers are kind of known for their celebrations. It's batsman का like he has like this, नहीं होता वो जो it's like it's almost like a जो actors का नहीं होता sort of एक क्या उसे कहना चाहिए, courtesy, like वो जो आप स्टेज पे courtesy करते हैं यूं करके, या you have this very elaborate kind of a courtesy जो कि आप करते हैं in front of the stage and in front of the audience. कि आप यूं जाते हैं, then you kind of tip your hat and you do this. So he had that, like he goes and he अपना बल्ला वो यूं करता है, and he does this like it was really cool. And then उस time पे जब उसने किया ना, तो पीछे से the fireworks go off. So you have this entire video of him taking his balla and going like this. वो कर रहा है पीछे से simultaneously as he goes down, तो fireworks धूस करके फटते हैं. So it's probably the most aesthetic celebration that I've seen from a Pakistani batsman ever. बहुत ही मजे की, especially the innings itself is amazing, but that was just such a good, button to the entire thing.
Also, that kind of celebration is hard to. Oh, I just saw the celebration. Oh, that's cool. Yeah,
that was
no,
a
but
cool
that
thing.
sort of celebration is hard to pull off considering the bat is heavy. Abdullah Shafiq का bat तो heavy है, ठीक है? That we can say for sure, ठीक है? But your pads are heavy, helmet होता है, उस तरह का angle लाना in that level.
He just does it like a dance, almost like dancer की तरह उसने जिस balance के साथ से किया था, that was fantastic.
Yeah.
And I was not expecting like इस तरह का जो उसका होगा, but that was like one of the most aesthetic क्या कह सकते celebrations that I've ever seen from a Pakistani batsman ever. So वो मतलब बहुत था.
Although the potential of this going wrong is so high. Imagine
so
किसी दिन वो गिर जाए.
And
immediate injury.
Given that he's like Pakistani, तो हो भी सकता है. Like आपने कितनी दफा ये होते हुए देखा है, पाकिस्तानी प्लेयर सेलिब्रेट like अभी मुझे याद है उसका क्या था, दानिश कनेरिया का था ना, like he gets so excited वो एकदम करते हैं, then he just falls over. Like it takes, I think like we always find a way to kind of ruin those things, like coolness अपनी खराब करने में. Like उसने I think 5 विकेटें ली थी या क्या हुआ था, like he was bowling a really good spell against England, or he like bowls a fantastic delivery and then he starts running to celebrate and then he falls over. तो वो चीज पाकिस्तान की टीम हमेशा you can kind of count on them to ruin their cool factor by doing something silly or something stupid, या भी वो तो ऑलरेडी मीम मटेरियल तो हम प्रोवाइड कर ही रहे थे, लाइक वो जो शुरू के मैच में, आई थिंक पहले मैच में मतलब 2 फील्डर्स को देख रहे थे, बॉल बीच में गुजर जाती है, जस्ट क्रॉस ईच अदर एंड द बॉल गोस बिटवीन द टू ऑफ देम। तो वो मतलब उस तरह का मीम मटेरियल तो प्रोवाइड करने की पाकिस्तान टीम हमेशा तैयार रहती है, बट हाँ कूलनेस वाले मीम्स बहुत कम ही होता है कि जो हम निकालें, एंड विदाउट एक्चुअली रूइनिंग इट, होप ही डजंट। बट आई मीन दैट्स आई, जब मैंने देखा था ना कुछ प्लेयर्स का होता है, यू वॉच देम एंड इवन इफ यू हैवंट सीन देम प्ले, देयर इज समथिंग अबाउट देम, लाइक अब्दुल्ला का हमें like day one से, but I liked about him like उसकी आंखें आप देखें ना, you can see like there's like there's a stillness in his head and there's a stillness in his eyes, like there's a focus that you can see, look at, आप कहते हैं कि नहीं यार ये बंदा जो है ना, he's got something, like even if you don't look at the stats and all that, आप सिर्फ उसकी आंखों को देखें and you see his focus, you can tell कि okay, this guy's got something special, like उस तरह का आपको बहुत टॉप क्लास प्लेयर्स लाइक कोहली वगैरह में नजर आ रहा होता था, ड्राविड में नजर आता था, उस तरह की स्टिलनेस और उस तरह का फोकस जो आपको दिखाई देता था, इट्स लाइक वेरी हाई लेवल का जो कि मुझे
Yeah,
उसमें
yeah.
नजर आ रहा था,
You
एंड
know,
यू
he
विल सी
also
दिस
has that
इज
it, one advantage that he has over Babar is that he has a certain level of edge to him, and I think we've had conversations about this edginess before, where the thing that separates someone like Babar from Kohli is Kohli is much more versatile because again, the Kohli can accelerate, and he also has that thing of like he getting on the other team's nerves, and he has a certain level of aura around him. And I've always felt that it becomes a little unfair to compare Babar with Kohli because Babar is on route to become goated, probably best ever. But he's also kind of like he's such a nice guy, इतना भोला भाला बच्चा है कि like it's he doesn't have that edge to him. You cannot expect Babar to play like an innings just like Kohli ne खेली थी last year in MCG against us, right? But I do feel like, and this might be too early for Abdullah Shafiq. I do feel like he has that edge to him that Babar does not have, and maybe he can play an inning similar to MCG. Maybe. मतलब वो mentality तो दिख रही है. अब that is a huge maybe कि if he's able to pull something like that off. But I do feel कि he does have that.
In this match he probably would have, like again coming to the catch, that was an amazing catch, like वो ना लेते ना तो उसने out नहीं होना था, like he would have been there till the end. I feel like वो, and that in itself is something कि जहाँ पे आपको लग रहा है कि बंदा नहीं जाने वाला, he will, I mean, he was playing a lot of strokes at that point, काफी सारे shots खेल रहा था, but he wasn't looking like he was mistiming or mishitting or overcommitting even at that point, like वो जो shot पे out भी हुआ था वो भी एक बहुत अच्छी shot थी, most of the times that would be a boundary, and somehow उसने he just takes a fantastic catch and dismisses him, but वही बात है कि he I'm not sure, I mean वही बात है कि it can come to bite us in the ass because ये भी recently काफी he went through a very bad patch of form, which again जैसे हम कहा था कि much like Imam, we don't really expect to see him have that bad patch of form because he's such a technically correct player.
Yeah.
लेकिन वो भी होता है, it does happen as well, but he does seem to have that particular kind of an edge. He seems to have a certain, even though he hasn't delivered in the same way, but लगता है कि इसमें कुछ, he has a particular aura to him, like there is a stillness to him when he's there, and he can kind of like वो जो कहते हैं ability to control a game. He seems to have that ability. Of course too early to say, especially क्योंकि वो बात है कि he's still very young in his career, there's still a lot that he needs to do, and again a lot of pressure होगा जब वो बात है कि जब आपके ऊपर पड़ता है, for example like इंडिया पाकिस्तान मैच का pressure, तो उस वक्त आप क्या करेंगे, that's a different situation altogether, but he does seem to he seems to have like unlimited potential. जब आया भी था तो we just saw something quite spectacular in this kid at the time, and he's continued to deliver it, and he's continued to improve as well, like उसकी T20 game देखिए उसने कितनी improve की है, since the first time he played and to now, where he's becoming a more and more crucial player for the Qalandars. So वही बात है, even जब आपको याद होगा जब इसका bad patch चल रहा था, and we were saying कि यार bad patch की वजह ये है कि they're forcing him to be a stroke player, which he is not. He has a way of playing test cricket, let him play that, but he said कि भाड़ में जाए, he started playing strokes as well. And जो हमारी श्रीलंका खेला था, it was a fantastic double century.
Yeah.
Where he basically hitting it, मतलब 60-70 के strike rate पे उसने double century मार दी थी.
Yeah.
So and he slowed down towards the end, like last 20 runs में बहुत slow मारे थे, he was going at like 80 or something for the majority of that inning. So वो मतलब उस तरह से he just keeps evolving himself, which I think bodes well. Because कोई बात है कि हमें कहीं भी लग नहीं रहा कि he's not stopping anywhere. He's constantly upping his game. That,
And also he has that thing, jo, matlab, sometimes used to bite him back in the ass, but he has this thing of getting into milestones with boundaries, which again goes to enforce that edge feeling. It's not like
हाँ,
it's
this
like
match में he
confidence.
just did it with singles.
Yeah,
The singles के those time. लेकिन हाँ, he didn't waste too much time though. He still managed to do it quickly enough. कि
yeah,
फंसा नहीं वो या dots नहीं खेले उसने, but he just played singles and he got to it. So
yeah.
वो भी है. लेकिन वही बात है, हमने काफी लंबी बात उस पर कर ली है. जिस बंदे ने उससे बड़ी इनिंग्स खेली और आखिर तक खड़ा रहा, despite his many injuries, रिजवान के वो इस तरह से गिर रहा है, पड़ रहा है, टांग को पकड़ रहा है, मतलब उसके बाद क्विक सिंगल लेके and then he's just falling over while playing a shot. There was just so much going on. Like अभी मैं देख रहा था ट्विटर भरा हुआ है with like रिजवान की मीम्स के साथ, जिसमें उसको बेस्ट एक्टर का ऑस्कर मिल रहा है. लिटरली इन लोगों ने वीडियोस बनाई हैं, डीप फेक वीडियोस बनी है for him like receiving an
Rizwan
Oscar.
was watching some Rizwan was watching some football the other night, and he was like, "Oh, that's a great idea."
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah,
Have I got an idea for you guys? It was
yeah,
amazing. Like वो वाकई मतलब वो पूरी innings जो है ना, that was just so much fun. Like अगर मैं कहूँगा रिजवान की stroke play might not be as much to write home about, लेकिन man he's so much fun. Like जिस तरह से पूरा this all action, constant, कोई भाग रहा है, सिंगल को डबल में करने की कोशिश कर रहा है, उनसे बात करने में लगा. And I am just stunned by his stamina वैसे, by the way. Consider कि एक बंदा 50 overs keeping करके उसके बाद बैटिंग के लिए आया, and he's like there pretty early on in as well. I think he's out there in like the 9th over or something, or maybe even before that, I'm not sure. And probably yeah, I think he's there by the 8th or 9th over, and he's
also,
there.
I never got the chance to mention this during the Asia Cup because we didn't really record that much because we were so disheartened by the Asia Cup. But but the level of guts that this person has is absolutely something to marvel at, because considering when you had that trio, sadly that doesn't exist anymore, of like three bowlers that are bowling at 140 pace with extra bounce, right? That guy did not have a helmet on.
हाँ बिल्कुल, and वो बात है कि I think
Yeah.
he's actually, we forget that he's actually a really good keeper as well. Like his batting is kind of dominating the conversation. He's a fantastic keeper. Like he
Yeah.
barely had a bad game. We forget like हमें कमरान अकमल के जो halcyon days थे उनको हम भूल जाते हैं.
Yeah.
This time पे like, and we were like, we always thought he was a good batsman at the time. हमें कमरान अकमल as a batsman कोई बुरा नहीं लगता था, and he was genuinely doing well back then. लेकिन उसकी keeping was like such a fucking liability. We actually forget कि कितना बड़ा एक privilege है just to have a guy इसके बारे में हमें परेशान नहीं होना पड़ता कि अच्छा हाँ यार behind the stumps catch नहीं छोड़ेगा. तो
Yeah.
वो that kind of gets lost in the conversation. Like हम उसकी batting भी बात कर रहे हैं, his stroke play, and there's a lot of other questions about the T20 के is he quick enough, or should he and Babar be opening the batting and all that, but all of that is like cricket batting based questions जो हमारे चल रहे होते हैं. We do not, which is a good thing, we're not questioning his keeping at all. Like हमारे दबाव में भी नहीं आ रहा. It's a bit like IT, like good keeping is like good IT. कि आपको तभी याद आती है जब कोई मसला हो. यहाँ पे अगर हमें नहीं याद आ रहा है, we're not talking about it, we're not even thinking about it, that means he's doing a fantastic job. Like keeping में तो हम बात ही नहीं कर रहे. So I mean that in itself is like a huge thing as well. Like he's there, and considering कितना T20 में वो opening कर रहा होता है, so he's there for the entire match. He's definitely there while the keeping is going on. So वो मतलब उसका, he has to be on all the time. And I remember this used to be such a big problem for the reason why we don't have like wicket keeper captains, because I remember कि Moin Khan, and if you've ever gone back, I would ask you to maybe check out these old matches. Moin Khan was a fantastic keeper, amazing keeper. But I thought he would make so many things just look simple. Like Rashid Latif was technically brilliant, and I still think overall they were, both of them were like pretty even in that regard. लेकिन मोइन खान की athleticism was something else. That he would make the most difficult catches look easy. जिस तरह से उड़ता हो जाता था. He's probably one of the finest keepers that we had. But when they made him captain, he started making mistakes because he was like constantly involved. तुम इधर जाओ, तुम field setting में लगा होता इधर होता था. He would keep losing his concentration, and he would start making like very basic errors and start dropping catches. It's very difficult to do that. Like physical fitness level पे ही, like you play cricket, you understand कि आपकी physical fitness down होती है, आपकी mental fitness भी down होना चाहिए. You start missing things, you start making mistakes. So that also shows कि उसकी physical fitness का level कितना high है. It's kind of amazing कि हाँ. So that also kind of shows you कि कितना उसका high level है कि he doesn't make any mistakes either. Like usually सिर्फ थकावट की वजह से आपको mistakes होनी शुरू होती है. He doesn't do that. So I mean that's kind of amazing when I think about it. So all credit to him as well. उसके बाद I think once these two kind of set it up, I think उसके बाद it seemed pretty easy. I think मुझे थोड़ा डर उस वक्त था जब रिजवान की hamstring पुल होना शुरू हो गई है, तो मैंने कहा यार चल अभी ये out हुआ है. They've just got the momentum back. They've taken a fantastic catch, and now he's gotten injured as well. तो वहाँ मुझे थोड़ा डर लगा, but then suddenly he has this miraculous recovery. And uske baad South Shakil just comes in, and उसने छोटी innings खेली, but I think South Shakil played a very important role as well. He came in and he just looked nonplussed throughout. Like वो आया and he just automatically start हो गया.
Although very stupid dismissal, I was not
stupid.
Actually it was waiting to happen because एक तो मुझे ये लग रहा था, and we should mention this in the last segment, कि Sri Lanka really did not want to win this match. Like they did not want to win this match. And I think हुआ ये बीच में इतने catches drop हो रहे थे. I think एक over में 3 catches drop हुए थे. एक South Shakil के थे और 2 रिजवान के थे. I think by that point South Shakil became a little overconfident. He was like मैं मार दूंगा, and गया तो गया, वरना आउट हो गया, वरना आउट तो नहीं होने वाला. They're not gonna catch it. वो ओवर कॉन्फिडेंस की वजह से वो आउट हो गया, because a lot of these shots were reckless. I would say कि जो यूं करके उठा रहा था ना बॉल, I think that was a reckless shot because वो I don't think he was accounting for pace that much. So yeah, it was waiting to happen, but it's a good.
I think before that he did well. Like he seemed comfortable against the spin, which he's actually quite good at. Then I think that will be a major factor for us, for someone to come in and be able to kind of negotiate the spin in like more difficult tracks, especially. I think he will play a crucial part, and he seemed to work. I automatically just just started rotating, and then of course Ifti Chacha ne aakhir mein aake he just pretty much said कि ठीक है बस मैं match खत्म करना है, and just came and just played a few shots here and there. उसने बड़े आराम से मैच जो है वो खत्म कर दिया. But that time it became a bit too easy. But वही बात है. Again, let's come back to the point that Pakistan has somehow managed to become to break the record of the highest chase, which we know. हमने कहा, मैंने अभी कहा था कि let's enjoy it while we can, because we know by the end of this World Cup वो record तो कम से कम 2-3 दफा और भी टूटेगा. Given the kind of pitches that we've already seen, given the fact that warm-up match में 350 जो है वो न्यूजीलैंड ने 43 overs में chase कर लिया था. So I'm pretty sure कि even at some point 400 का target भी chase होना है इस World Cup में. लेकिन चलो let's enjoy it while we can, and credit where it's due, जो कि हम दे सकते हैं, because yes, it was mentally from a very difficult situation कि आपकी 2 विकेटें गिरी हुई हैं. We started off very slowly, chasing a target of nearly 350, and that's a weird thing कि we never really played that quickly. Like किसी भी टाइम मुझे लगा ना पाकिस्तान को बहुत तेज खेल रहा है. क्योंकि 350 टारगेट हो, 350 ये तो हमें बहुत तेज खेलना पड़ेगा. लाइक हम relatively आराम से खेल रहे थे. We were not doing that much.
Up until the 45th over, actually, because I think until the 40th over, commentators we बोल रहे थे कि this is where they need to start accelerating to 8 runs per over, because it was required. 8 runs per over were required by the 40th over, and they were playing at like 6 runs per over. And I don't know if they got lucky or that was the plan all along कि हम बस we keep chipping away the scoreboard, and then आखिरी 5 ओवरों में हम पागलों की तरह मारेंगे.
Which they didn't do even then. Like आखिरी 5 ओवर में भी मतलब I think आखिरी 2 ओवर में शायद इफ्ती ने कुछ मारे थे. But they never went crazy at any point. Like it was always like boundary at the right time. जैसे थोड़ा सा प्रेशर पड़ा बाउंड्री निकाली, थोड़ा सा प्रेशर पड़ा बाउंड्री निकाली, नहीं तो फिर क्विक डबल बना लिया, सिंगल्स डबल निकाले, managed to get 7 or 8 runs in the over just from that, and then अगले ओवर में 2 बाउंड्रीज निकाल दी, and then they're still around the target and kind of never getting it too far away from the run rate. तो उस तरह से उन्होंने किया था, but it never looked like there was a period होता है ना कि आप कहते हैं huge period of acceleration for the Pakistan team. There was never that. Like maybe except for the last 2 overs, किसी भी टाइम मुझे लगा नहीं कि पाकिस्तानी टीम को बहुत ज्यादा accelerate कर रही थी जिस तरह से श्रीलंका ने किया था. Like first 30 overs they were just hitting everything out of the park.
Yeah.
Then they slow down for the next 20. Like Pakistan का कहीं भी था. It was just consistent pacing throughout, and they just almost seemed to meander to 350, which seems very odd when I say it. but it's kind of how they did it. Like they kind of meandered their way to a 350 target, which is quite odd, and which maybe says a lot about the pitch as well.
No,
They
no, no.
didn't.
Let's transition to the important part, which was
Is
Sri Lanka made us win. I think ज़्यादा effort Sri Lanka की थी,
हाँ
because
बिल्कुल
my
जो
God, that
हाँ
was हमारे
नहीं नहीं जो
श्रीलंकन
आप
भाई चाहते हैं कि हम records break करें. I'm so proud of
हाँ
this.
नहीं
Like,
नहीं आपने इसका एक्चुअली ज्यादा बेहतर रीजन दिया था. आपने कहा था कि बेसिकली दे आर लुकिंग फॉर देयर पीएसएल कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स
yeah,
एंड आईसीसी इज इक्वल टू पीसीबी.
yeah, yeah.
उस वजह से उन्होंने फोर्स किया. देयर हैंड वाज फोर्स. दे हैड टू डू इट.
No, but my
इसमें जो है
God, they were like 5 wides, and they were like 5 wides. तो पता नहीं बार-बार हुए जा रही थी. And then they were buys, and then they were dropped catches. Dropped catches, so I don't know if
बहुत
they were
हाँ
definitely 2 figures at least of like worth of drop catches. That
बिल्कुल.
was just awful, awful fielding and bowling.
हाँ
And I don't know why they selected this Landega Malinga. I don't get it.
सो या हाँ उसमें बात हुई थी पथिराना पे. पथिराना का बेसिकली आई थिंक मसला ये है कि वो ही इज डिसेंट T20 बॉलर. आई थिंक हिज आईपीएल रिकॉर्ड इज प्रीटी गुड, बट मसला ये है कि वही सेम इशू कि ही इज नॉट रियली रेडी फॉर द ओडीआई थिंग. अभी हमें अंदाजा होना शुरू हुआ है लाइक एज लाइक T20s have become more specialized. We're starting to see like these players who are good T20 players but who are not really transiting to ODI. शुरू में तो ये था कि you were still playing T20s like ODIs. उस टाइम पे it was much easier to transition between the two. अब मुझे लग रहा है थोड़ा सा मसला होना शुरू हो गया. You really need to train players and kind of teach them कि अच्छा नहीं ODI की requirements थोड़ी सी different होती हैं. You need to bowl different lengths as well. But Tharana कोई मसला, he's a good T20 bowler because वो अगर death overs आप उससे करवाएंगे तो he's fine. But if he has to bowl lengths तो he can't really do that. Especially लंबे
Yeah.
spells होंगे तो he doesn't have the stamina for that. थकावट होगी. He starts missing his lengths altogether. वो जो वाइडिंग वो करवा रहा था आपको नजर आ रहा था again. And he's okay with that. But अगर वो उसको ODI में क्या नाम है T20 खिलाएं तो I think he's a decent T20 bowler. He's just not ready for ODIs yet. I think उसको सबसे बड़ा
I
मसला
think
ये है.
we're seeing a lot of this like deterioration of quality, because I want to draw attention to Adam Zampa. Because Adam Zampa was a good limited overs bowler in general. But what we've seen now is, given now how much T20 has happened in the past 3 years, uh, I saw that his performance against Australia was against India was extremely mediocre. That was some Shadab level bowling, which is a new low, by the way.
हाँ
A
ठीक है. तो
standard for
Shadab
mediocrity.
again Shadab is also a good T20 bowler.
Yeah, yeah,
He
yeah.
just is not a good bowler. His ODI record is also the same मसला वही है कि he's just not, again doesn't know how to bowl. ODI bowling, like ODI bowling में वही बात है जो sort of test में भी आपको करना पड़ता है कि you need to be more consistent and you don't need to try a different thing every ball. आपके पास 10 overs हैं. Just take
Yeah,
your
yeah.
time and just try to hit your lengths or try to do the same thing over and बस leg spin कराओ एक जगह पे कराने की कोशिश करो. Don't try to bowl leg spinner one ball, अगले पे flipper, अगले पे googly, उसके बाद top spinner or then back to a leg spinner. That works in T20s because you only have 4 balls and the person is trying to attack you constantly. वहाँ तो इस तरह की erratic approach काम करती है. Test ये ODIs में वो नहीं चलती and that's kind of a problem as well.
No,
Plus
but
वही
like
बात है.
again, Glenn Maxwell bowled better than Adam Zampa. Glenn
हाँ
Maxwell
Glenn
is
Maxwell
yeah.
and he's actually has become better though. Glenn Maxwell का ये है कि his average of late has been around 28 or something. So he's kind of become maybe not a frontline spinner, but he's become a good all-rounder. So वो है लेकिन हाँ Zampa को क्या हो गया मुझे समझ नहीं आ रहा. वो his form is just वो बता Shadab levels of bad at this point.
Yeah.
So वो मसला अपनी जगह पे है. But yeah, I think वो बात है श्रीलंका. We do have to take this with a grain of salt. I think वो बात है कि because we already had a 350 score and as the अब जितने positives हैं वो तो अपनी जगह पे हो गए. We had a 350 score in the warm-up game against New Zealand and a good team managed to do that. वही बात है कि अगर first innings को अच्छी टीम खेल रही होती they would have scored 400 easily. और 400 अगर बन जाए तो पाकिस्तान is not chasing 400. ये मुझे पता है अच्छी तरह से. वो एक्स्ट्रा 50 रन बन जाते that would have been enough scoreboard pressure
You
for us to
are underestimating a wounded Rizwan. There is always a
हाँ
wounded Rizwan.
हाँ वो बाहर आता है, would have blown out both his hamstrings, यूं करके ना यूं उखाड़ के उनको यूं निकालता। और उसके बाद he would have started batting after that.
The moment he blows both of his hamstrings, he's also scoring the first Pakistani double century in ODI.
हाँ exactly. हर hamstring का जो है वो 100 रन है
Yeah.
basically. तो उस तरह से अगर दोनों फट गई तो फिर उसके बाद आपके हाँ then you get a double century. लेकिन वो मैं कह रहा हूँ कि अभी भी it's kind of difficult. अभी वही बात है पाकिस्तानी टीम का, क्योंकि यूजुअली हमारा होता है कि पाकिस्तानी टीम किस तरह से चलती है. You either start like horrendously कि आप शुरू के मैच हारते हैं and then suddenly you start picking up momentum और आप चलते हैं. अभी it's kind of tough. Like हमारा पहला मैच हमने काफी गंदी किस्म की परफॉर्मेंस दी, and then the second match we suddenly have like a World Cup record. It's kind of hard for me to gauge where the
Very
Pakistani team is
messy.
at.
It's been a very messy
It's
performance.
kind of
I'm to be
messy.
honest,
हाँ
I am not happy with the
समझ नहीं आ रहा हुआ क्या है.
I'm not happy with the performance, and this is something I wanted to end it off with. Going into the Pakistan-India match, I don't think we're winning that match. We are the extreme underdogs right now because given the way that we played against Netherlands and given the way that we played against Sri Lanka, we cannot say that these were good performances. These were very contingent victories. Let's face it. Like contingent in the sense that if Sri Lanka इतनी बुरी bowling ना कराते तो शायद हम नहीं खेल पाते. There is always that.
हाँ वो थोड़ी सी
Right?
बेहतर फील्डिंग कर लेते, and they wouldn't have just like the very obvious opportunity to score 400 runs.
Yeah.
So again, we would not have had that chance. And again, our team is still badly out of form. Like, Shadab is still horribly underperforming. Imam is performing badly. Babar is nowhere near as good as he should be. So overall, like we have 3 or 4 players in the team जो के बुरी form में इस वक्त हैं. Which is a good thing or a bad thing. Maybe उस तरह देख सकते हैं कि Pakistan is still ability to speak, which from like a Pakistani fan perspective, it gives us hope because we don't want to get too hot too soon. पता है कि Pakistani team if it comes in too hot, there's no way they're winning that tournament.
India नहीं बनना.
तो हमें तो usually हमारा होता है कि हाँ शुरू में थोड़ा बुरा खेल लो, that's fine. आखिर में जाके हम we have to hit momentum at the end. Although that was kind of scuppered by the last World Cup, जिसमें हमें यकीन था कि हम इंग्लैंड को, and we played well, like we played really well in that, especially bowling हमारी बहुत अच्छी हुई थी the T20 final. लेकिन that was kind of scuppered by England because हमें लगा था कि definitely हम जीत रहे हैं. We got too much momentum on our side. We finally found our game और हम बिल्कुल एक हारी सिचुएशन से आए हैं. इसमें से पाकिस्तान तो हमेशा जीतता है. Like every time Pakistan comes back from that kind of a situation, we always win. And it was like tailor-made for that, and then England won. So at this point, I don't know what to think or say. क्योंकि बात वही है कि लेट मोमेंटम बिल्ड करने से भी हम नहीं जीते, एंड और तरीकों से जल्दी जब वी केम इन हॉट, लाइक दोनों T20s में फर्स्ट लास्ट टाइम जब हम आए थे, वी केम इन हॉट, वी वर द बेस्ट टीम, वी शुड हैव वन दैट टाइम एज वेल, एंड वी लॉस्ट इन द सेमीफाइनल टू ऑस्ट्रेलिया, एंड उसके फौरन बाद हम फाइनल में पहुंचे इंग्लैंड के खिलाफ, वी शुड हैव वन दैट, एंड देन वी लॉस्ट दैट एज वेल. अगेन हम आपसे बात भी कर चुके हैं, आवर टीम रियली शुड हैव वन लाइक at least 3 or 4 major tournaments by this point. We haven't won any. But again, neither has India. They have a very dominant side that hasn't won any, except for maybe like the Test Championship. So, लेकिन बहरहाल वो अपनी जगह पे, that's something that both teams need to do something about. I think it's a much bigger failure for India to not be able to win this particular tournament. But I think overall it would be a failure for Pakistan to not have won anything. Like it's our golden generation. This is a fantastic team. Like मैंने क्योंकि बहुत गंदा पीरियड भी देखा हुआ है, आपने भी देखा हुआ है पाकिस्तान टीम का. This is probably one of the finest collection of talent that we have had in a very long time. And for us not to win any major tournament would be a shame, but it's happened before. Many golden generations have come and gone. Football में भी ऐसा बहुत होता है, लेकिन yeah, it would be a shame, but I don't know अब कितने और साल हमारे पास होंगे या कितनी और अपॉर्चुनिटीज हमारे पास होंगी of winning a major tournament. But let's see. अभी फिलहाल अगले मैच में तो yes, you're right, मुझे ज़्यादा कोई उम्मीद लग नहीं रही. I don't think they'll win against India. I don't think I'll feel that bad either, unless कि मतलब को बहुत ही करीब पहुंच के, जैसा पिछले लास्ट वो जो I think मेलबर्न में मैच हुआ था, You just that was like a situation now. I guess I wouldn't feel I wouldn't feel that bad, but I don't really expect Pakistan to win this one. lag nahi raha. I just hope they don't lose that badly. कोई मतलब बिल्कुल रन रेट अपना फक कर लें उस चक्कर में. अगर हारना तो एटलीस्ट कोई थोड़ी डिसेंट फाइट देके ही हारे. बट या it doesn't seem like कि कोई इतना मतलब ये होगा क्योंकि इंडिया एक तो has some fantastic like उसकी overall जो spin attack है, it looks really good. Pakistan doesn't really have anything of the same caliber, and their bowling is also really, really good as well. Like fast bowling, Bumrah and Siraj have been doing fantastically well. Siraj इस मैच में अभी करंट जो हुआ था अफगानिस्तान के खिलाफ didn't do that well, but वही बात है कि that's probably down to the pitch, maybe, and I guess anyone can have one bad day, but I don't think I see much. अच्छा पाकिस्तानी कहाँ पे उनकी bowling lineup को attack करेंगे. And I see a lot of like guys like Nawaz and Shadab will absolutely get eaten up by the Indian attack. So वो मुझे by the Indian batting मुझे लग नहीं रहा कि वो कुछ कर पाएंगे. And Shaheen, who's usually a trump card, has had the worst game. He's in the worst form of his life right now. So again, but वही बात है कि given how illogical Pakistan's victory was against Sri Lanka, I guess more illogical things can happen. Who knows? अगर उस तरह से आप चलें like there was a stat someone posted, Mazhar Arshad का tweet था, that just blew my mind. अगर आप भी सुनेंगे तो आप हैरान होंगे. Pakistan in the last 1,000 power play deliveries has not hit a six. Can you believe that?
What?
Really? Yeah.
Wait, how could have 1,000?
like
कितने मैचेस होंगे? 1,000 power play deliveries.
पता नहीं.
Let me do the math. Wait.
What? Mazhar Arshad ने ये लिखा था. मैं आपको दिखाता भी. I'll show you that tweet. Mazhar Arshad की. But उसमें उसने ये tweet लिखी हुई थी, and he's someone who's like very good at finding these kind of obscure stats. But let me see if I can find that one. But that was insane. That stat kind of blew my mind.
Wait. Let's wrap it up. मुझे जाना है घर.
Yeah, but that was kind of insane. But yeah, so basically, so who knows? क्या insanity हो सकती है? But yeah, the fact that we're relying on some level of insanity to win that game shows you, how much of a chance Pakistan has. Plus, of course, do not discount the streak as well. Against Sri Lanka, की हमारे खिलाफ streak चल रही थी, and we actually have a 7-0 streak against them. जिस तरह से इंडिया के हमारे खिलाफ चल रही है. तो उस तरह की streaks को psychological barriers को overcome करना भी आसान नहीं होता. That in itself is a huge problem. So yeah, not much of a chance for Pakistan, but the good thing is Pakistan is at least not getting knocked out. अगर हम वो मैच हार जाते हैं, of course it won't help our cause, but at least we're not getting knocked out. So in that sense, it's probably not the worst thing, but yeah, let's see.
It's not even the
looking
real.
forward to that game. And
it's not even the real grudge match.
Let's see. Let's hope for the best.
It's not even the real grudge match of the tournament, because the real grudge match is between Pakistan and Afghanistan. So
yeah, हमें पता है कि उन्होंने वो सब बांग्लादेश से आराम से हार जाएंगे, वो इंडिया से आराम से आज इंतहाई आराम से हारे हैं. लेकिन पता नहीं कौन सा टीका लगा के हुआ था पाकिस्तान के खिलाफ every single goddamn time. It is like वो क्या कहते हैं tooth and nail होता है ना, like scratching की just eye out. Every single time it is such a hard game. Like
they come up with their Zawal
मरते हैं. उफ अल्लाह.
No, they come up with their Zawal vaccines अपने अंदर लगाते हैं and they just become insane beasts.
वो हमारे लिए सेव करके की होती है उन्होंने. It's just every single time that stress होती है अफगानिस्तान की. मुझे पता होता है कि इन्होंने हमें फंसाना है. We might still win at the end, but it is going to be such
अब तो नसीम भी नहीं है.
like,
कौन मारेगा एंड में?
अब तो नसीम हाँ तो नसीम भी नहीं है.
Yeah.
ये अब वाकई अब हमारा जो है ना वहाँ से बुरी होने वाली है. Like seriously, इस दफा हम नहीं बच पाएंगे. Unless के वही बात है कि नसीम जो है he makes like some sort of a WWF किस्म का रिटर्न. आगा सलमान को हम टीम में रखे एकदम स्टडी ऑफ द मास्क हटाए और बीच नसीम निकल
What is Shalman टीम में कर रहे हैं? There's like the commentator goes like, what is Naseem Shah doing with the money in the bank briefcase?
फिर से आए फजल फारूकी के पीछे क्यों रख के मारेगा हमेशा की तरह फिर 3 काउंट
Yeah. Chalo, let's wrap it
and
up.
with that image let's wrap it up and we'll see all of you guys next time. Bye.